Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Wings to Fly. You might be asking the question, what is that all about? Why are you doing a show about wings and flying? Well, I'm one of those kind of people who believe that we encounter people throughout our lives who sometimes our wings are not strong enough to fly. So we have to fly on somebody else's wings that gives us that lift until our wings are strong enough to carry us. In my life, I've had plenty of people come into my life to give me that boost, to let me fly on their wings until I was strong enough. Because I grew up in Houston, Texas, in a great community, but I was a shy kid. I probably didn't say much for the first from the first grade all the way until about the 10th grade because I was a shy kid, wasn't sure of myself, didn't think I had anything to say, didn't think I had anything to contribute. And it's so ironic that I ended up having a 40-year career in communications and television and broadcast industry. But life is like that. I always say, tell God your plan and watch him smile. Because if you just follow the path, God will lead you in the right direction. So we're hoping this is the type of show that will inspire, uplift you, and give you that confident boost that if you're not strong enough, look for mentors and become look for mentees that you can inspire and look for mentors that will inspire you. So throughout my life, I had people in the neighborhood. I had my parents who inspired me. I had a 10th grade teacher in high school who helped me to start coming out of my shyness or my lack of verbal communications, if you will, because she told me you need to read more, you need to have things in your head that you can talk about. So I started to do that, but she took me for a whole year through the whole school year, and then when I came back when I got ready to graduate, I was able to speak about things, talk about things, and do the things I needed to do, and that was the beginning of my journey. And as we go through life, other people will come along and give you that little boost, those little wings to fly on. I remember graduating from high school and wasn't sure what I was going to do with my career. But my cousin and my best friend was talking about going to college. And I said, well, maybe I'll go. And that's how I started my journey into higher education. That was another set of wings that I was able to fly on. Then when I got there, I wasn't able to speak very well because I was mispronouncing words. I had a lazy tongue and all that kind of stuff. So I had a lot of people came to me and helped me in my communications career as I was starting my broadcast career and training in college at Prairie View A&M University. So I'm saying all this to say is that sometimes we feel like there is no hope. We're the last person chosen on the basketball team or the sporting team or the group. Nobody wants us part of the group, but that's not true. Sometimes God is preparing you for something else that you need to do. And I think throughout my life, God has prepared me for this moment, for this opportunity to talk to people who can inspire other people. And that's what I want everybody to know. Your wings may not be strong enough for you to fly out and flap them fast, but you can lean on somebody else's wings in order to get you there. And of course, tonight we have the perfect guest on our first show. I've known her for a long, long time, probably over 20 years, maybe 25 years, because we started off in the music business together and knew people in the music business and got into that and started something else. And it's hard to believe over 17 years later, she's now produced over 500 books. She has authors all over the world that she's dealing with, and she has her own publishing company, and she's thriving. And I don't even think she had an idea. And we'll get into that conversation with her in a few minutes as we introduce her. I don't even know 25 years ago if she had the thought to become owner of a publishing company. But let's bring her into the fold, and let's just see if we can talk to Germaine Miller Summers. Germaine, welcome to Wings to Fly.
Hi, Charles. I am so excited about this new platform and to be a guest on it.
Oh, well, I love it too. So let's just back up in time because you and I have known each other for a very, very long time, a
Yeah.
music business days. Did you even see this dream that you have now, 25 years ago? Did you even have that in mind? Was that even a thought in your head?
I don't know so much if it was a thought in my head, but I'm a firm believer everything is already in us. And it just comes to a point in life when you begin to tap into destiny and purpose. And what's so interesting, going back to those years early on in the music industry when we would sit long hours in studios, be out
Yes,
at
yes.
different locations with artists, marketing and promoting them. Publishing, I did not think about the literary publishing side, I have to tell you, but I've always been intrigued by one story. And I've always been just a huge advocate to really see one's career just blossom and them becoming who they're purposed to be. So, to answer your question, no, I don't think I've seen the actual literary publishing side of things back then.
Well, let me ask you this question: how did this germ of an idea come about? What? You woke up one morning and you had a divine inspiration to start a publishing company. How did it all start for you?
I'm gonna tell you a funny little story. Like I said, I believe things are already a part of you, and it's just a moment in time when they will manifest. So, not realizing, because in the music industry, I dealt a lot with publishing, for the music side of publishing. And I don't know why I was so intrigued by that, but I focused on that. So it led me early on to just start researching, in the publishing space. Well, I'm going to jump ahead a little. I was at my mom's house, and my mom was cleaning out her basement. In Charles, my mom bought a book that I had created called Candyland. It was a hardcover book from when I was in the first grade. And she had this book all these years, and it brought tears to my eyes because I was purpose for this. It had been a part of my life from when I was a little girl. And now coming to this place, it was like a full circle moment at that time. So it's always been a part of me. I just didn't know I would end up 17 years, 500 plus titles later, really being able to help individuals birth their vision of being an author and sharing their stories with the world.
Yeah, that is a phrase that you use all the time, giving birth to one's vision. I love that. Where did that come about?
One of my mentors, his name is Calvin Booker out of Georgia. He would say that you're a midwife, you help birth vision. And he said this to me years ago. And it just stuck because I believe God names a thing and then you become. So, Hope of Vision is the name God had given me. And when I say you become that, people will come and speak your vision right back to you, and just how you've affected their lives and how you've been a part of their lives. And so I consider myself a midwife, being able to help people birth their vision. And it's all through someone telling someone else, referrals. That's how I got to this place.
Now, since this show is about wings to fly, so let me ask you the $64,000 question. Who are some of the people who gave you your wings to fly?
I thought about this question. And the thing is, I can't say it was one person. And the reason is, on my journey through life, there's so many discoveries, and God places people in your life at different seasons and different times. And so, first and foremost, I have to say, God given me the assignment and the vision to be able to help people, um, share their stories, and giving me the ability, without even going to a formal university or anything regarding publishing, it's just giving me a know-how and innate ability to be able to really help birth this out, and help people push out their stories so that it can manifest in the marketplace. And then I have to say, my mom, from that inception of bringing me into this world, I am so thankful because she allowed me to blossom. Even if she didn't understand, she would always say, Germaine, there's only 24 hours in a day. You can't do everything. But she allowed me to be, as she was guiding me through the course of my life. And then I could say my husband, who, thank God for him, as I prayed, just not being able to put, I want to say, let me just say this. He sees me to be able to understand that this is who she is. Let me step back and let her do who she's been called. Let her be who God has called her to be. And Charles, if I can say with you, I don't know if you know how important you are in the lives of people. So, you are someone that you do help give people their wings to fly. And I'm saying this because you have been a coach and a mentor. When I was this eager individual, young girl, sitting in your studio at CBS, wanting to know, how do I do this? How do I start this? Building websites, learning marketing, learning how to edit. You have been so instrumental over the course of my life, and it's been over 30 years. So,
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I always talk about this when I'm giving speeches or something. I always talk about Dr. King's quote: "You throw a pebble in the water, and you don't know where the ripples are going to go." And
absolutely.
I've had several people come back to me and say, "Hey, those words you said to me, what you stopped to help me do, um, helped me get to the next level of where I needed to be." But then I
Absolutely.
always turn it around and say, my mentor, who's now, I think she's in her 80s, I think she's like 83 years old. She was the former anchor, one of the first black anchors in Houston, who kind of gave me those wings when I was in college and told me the confidence, helped me get my first job, and helped me just find my way in the broadcast industry. So I asked her one day after she did all these things for me, I said, "How do I pay you? What do I owe you?" She said, "You owe me nothing. But when you get an opportunity to feed into someone else, that's every time you do this, you're paying me back." And that's what I've done for the last 37, 30, 39 years that I've been in the broadcast industry. So I welcome that and I thank you for that.
Yes,
So
I
now
am
let's
proud
get to the
of that.
crust of why we're here too on this show. So
Mhm.
talk to us about your publishing company, the name of your publishing company, how long it's been around, what type of books you publish, and the whole 9 yards. Just give us that whole view. And later on, ladies and gentlemen, for the people who are listening, we got special treats. We got guests coming in, people
Yeah.
she's worked with over the years who had number one books on the different lists that are out there for books. So we're going to introduce them a little later on in this podcast. So let me know all about HOV Publishing.
So HOV Publishing is Hope of Vision Publishing, and I started Hope of Vision Publishing over 17 years ago. And today I have published over 500 plus titles. And like I said, it's all been through a referral process. And so I am so blessed because you are going to meet some of the people that I call my family, the HOV Publishing or the HOV Hope of Vision family, that have been a part of my journey. And you know what, if I could say, they help give me my wings to become everyone that allowed me to be a part of their journey. And for me, it's being able to put feathers in their wings also. And so we're going to share some of their stories today. But with Hope of Vision Publishing, we're a full service publishing company. And we actually publish from children's books to autobiographies. We cover the full spectrum. We are a Christian based company as well. And so, with that, I have published self help books, and I'm going to talk to you about my new book, 90-Day Book Creation, and we'll get more into that also. The 90-Day Book Creation is inspired by all of you out there, those that always had a desire to want to write a book but didn't know how, wanted to share your story but didn't know the first steps, didn't know who to turn to. And we're going to get more into that as well. But Hope of Vision Publishing is clearly an assignment. I always say, part of my purpose, I'm a people person. It is about helping others birth their vision. And storytelling, if people don't realize it, and I know a lot of times people may think that no one's ever going to want to read my story. I don't think my story is important enough. I have to tell you, stop focusing on that. Completely take that out. The one thing about HOV Publishing, we work with authors. You don't have to be a big name person. You could be someone just starting out, and we help you along the journey. And so I'll let you hear more from the special invited guests that we're going to bring in, and let them tell their side and what their experience with Hope of Vision has been.
But before we get there, I want you to talk about another important reason why you're here tonight. You're launching something that will give everybody the ability to tell their story, to write their story, and have a published book, and have that book that can go on and be given to family members, passed down generation to generation. So talk to us about the special thing that you want to do for people who have never even thought about writing a book, but have stories. They've told stories in the family, they pass stories down, but now it's time to put it in print format. So talk to us about this project that you're doing.
Absolutely. It took me a long time to finally just take the leap and say, I've created this book. People need this book and they want this book. I'm just taking the leap. And here we are today to really be able to share this book. So, the 90-day book creation, and most of you that may be watching may think it's impossible. I can't do a book. You absolutely can. And it is easier when you have a personal coach to take you through the process. But what I did with the 90-day book creation is I broke it down in 12 steps, from the inception of having an idea to wanting to write your book, all the way through the process of having it be ready for the marketplace, in retail stores, online. So, if I can just share just a few parts of my system that I will be making available to everyone at the end, that you can register and be personally coached by me. So, we're going to take you through the preparation and the mindset, planning your book, divine diving into the writing process, editing and polishing, cover design and layout, forming a different forming and I'm sorry, formatting and different platforms. And with that, I also talk about, well, let me not get them ahead of myself. So we're going to talk about the ISBN, the copyrights, and the legalese to be able to make sure that you're protected. Choosing a publishing route, launching and marketing, post-launch and beyond, concept to income, and introducing AI to the 90-day book creation. The one thing I am so passionate about, and I want you to think about this, when you write your story from the onset, you are the owner of that intellectual property. It's yours, it belongs to you. And the one
Mhm.
thing with HOV publishing is I am a advocate for making sure people understand that you own your property, your writing and stuff. And so we also show you how to generate multiple revenue streams from one story. Now, I want you to really hear what I'm saying. You wrote this one story. So, we want to show you how you can generate multiple revenue streams from just writing your one story. Because a lot of times people want to know, how do I make money? Or, how far can I really take this book? And so, remember, a book, I firmly believe, is a byproduct of something far greater. So, if you're creating a product, you can look to set up a business and build off of that. And so we can talk a little more about it. And I'm going to share a lot more in detail when we go through the actual 12-step system.
Now, for the people who want to sign up for your 90-day book creation, where do they go? How do they get that information? What's the process?
So the first step is you can go directly to 90daybookcreation.com. And when you get to the site, you're going to click on 90-day book creation. And it's going to give you a breakdown of how you can register to be able to go through the process. We will be starting our actual first session, so everyone can be ready to have a book ready in the right after the first quarter. Their book can be completed in the first quarter of 2025. So if this is a New Year's resolution for you, then guess what? It can come to pass, because we all know about New Year's resolutions, right? We write them down, and that's all it is sometimes.
Okay, why should I write a book? What I'm thinking, who's going to be interested in my story? Why should I actually go through the process of putting in a pen to paper?
That's the question a lot of people have, and even from some of our guests, when you ask them, did they ever feel that way? You're probably going to get some of them to say, yeah, I didn't think anybody would be interested in my story. So the one thing I like to say is please don't focus on that. Everyone's unique. And, you know, if for me, I know we are overcomers by our testimonies. So if you have a testimony and you're sharing it with people, we're overcomers by that. So I look at stories as being just like that. There are millions and millions of people that can gain access, but not everybody's going to be interested in your story. But I promise you, there will be people interested in your story. So when you're going through the process, I don't even want you to focus on that question. I want you to just erase that question out of your mind that nobody's going to be interested in my story. And I want you to just isolate your thoughts on your story and focus on writing and telling your story. And that may come in the form of just audio. You may record yourself sharing your story that it
Well, let
then
me
can
ask you
be
this question.
transcribed.
Let me ask you this question. Is it a hard process, or is it because people try to do it by themselves and they don't bring in a coach like you? That's what makes it hard.
Well, you know what? Everybody's different. But I tell you, I when I speak to people, they say, it's not easy. It's a lot of moving parts to it. But if you have the time to put into it, anybody can self-publish. Anybody. The system, the publishing industry right now has made it so easy for anyone to be able to self-publish their works. So what we did, because we also understand that people, when they find that I want to self-publish my book, but I don't really have time to go find somebody to create my cover, someone to actually do my editing, I don't have anybody to lay out the process. The one great thing about Hope of Vision is that we made it easy, even for you to self-publish your book through us. And we have a guest that's going to share her process. That's a part of the HOV publishing, self-publishing division. And so it can for others, but a lot of people say it's challenging. They don't want to put all that time into it. Sometimes they want a partner to take them through the process to make it easier for them.
But is it true that once you write your story in a book, it's kind of something that lasts forever?
It is. And literally, your book can outlast you. you know? And I say that because it's true. So once it's published, it's in the publishing system, it's in the world, it's in the digital system for people to go and buy it. And so I think it's so important because it can be a part of your legacy. I have a division called Legacy Books, and Legacy Books is where people can share their story and leave it for their families. So, anyone listening, think about this. If you are someone's mother, father, or grandparents, how much information does your grandkids or your children really know about you? Your journey in life. So that's what Legacy Book is about. It allows people to write their story in a book and then they can leave it as a keepsake for their family members.
I mean, when people think of authoring a book, they're thinking people who've lived a long time, who've lived till they're 40, 50, 60, 70, and they have a lifetime of experiences they have. But from what I understand, one of our guests tonight here is 15, 16 years
16.
old, and she's now a published author.
Best-selling publishing author, and we're doing another book right now that's coming out November 19th.
So
We
let's
could
bring
bring
her
her
on. I'm gonna let you do the introduction.
Hi, Jasmine. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing so good. I am so proud of Jasmine. Jasmine was also a referral. Her mom called me through another one of my authors whose daughter actually published when she was 8. And her book was put into the California school systems. And she's since graduated from Spelman. That's how long she had been with Hope of Vision, right? So when she was referred to me, Jasmine, I was so amazed by just her intelligence. And she was younger. This was 2 years ago. She was 14. So But I was so impressed because her mind was so far advanced. She knew what she wanted. She was clear about it. She had already created her book called A Christmas Mouse for the Holidays. And what we did, we just came in from the self-publishing side and we just tweaked it. She did a lot of the heavy lifting in that book.
So
And
let's hear from
mhm.
the young author
Yes.
herself. So Jasmine, how did you connect with Hope HOV Publishing, and why did you always wanted to write a story or be an author? Was that something in your wheelhouse at such a young age?
So when I was 9, I started writing poetry. And so I wanted to get it published. Well, actually, at first, it wasn't really something I had thought of. But then one of my family members was friends with a publisher, and so I was able to get into contact with her. And she was wanting to publish my book for me. And that was published when I was like 9 or 10 or something like that. So I guess like being a writer has something that I've always loved and something, that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be an author. And when I was younger, I didn't really think that was something that would be possible for me to do at such a young age. Um, but then when I was around 14, I'd written my second book, Christmas Mouse. I actually have a copy of it right here.
Oh, look at you
um,
promote that book.
yeah. So, I wrote it originally when I was 9, but I'd rewrote it when I was 14, and I had been wanting to get it published. So like Jermaine said, I did do a lot of it. I'd written it, and I spent over a year illustrating, making the illustrations with my sister. We're co-illustrators on it. And I was really looking for a way to get this story published. And because it's a Christmas book, I really wanted to get it out before the end of the year. But because I was new to the industry and I didn't really know anything about publishing, I formatted my book completely wrong, and everyone and everything that I reached out to and tried to do was not working. And so I was wondering, like, is this even possible to get this book published? Um, but then that same family member who referred me a while ago, when I was 9, I was able to reach out to her again. She has like a lot of different connections. So she was able to refer me to one of Germaine's clients who published her book when she was a kid as well. And
So what was
so
the
since
process? What was the process? Did HOV Publishing make it easier process? Because you said you didn't even know if you would ever
Mhm.
get this book out there. So when you connected with HOV Publishing, did she kind of walk you through the process and make the process a little easier?
She did. It was actually a lot easier. I had struggled for months to figure out how to write the book, how to get it out there, how to make sure it reaches readers, and like really how to get it printed. And so when I was able to connect with her, she walked me through the whole process. And, her and her team were very helpful in getting things up and running. She was able to reformat my book and edit it and everything like that that I really needed and gave me the support that I didn't really have before, so it was a lot easier.
Now I understand your book is at the top of the publishing world. You like became number one or something like that. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, so when I published that book, it did hit the bestseller list, and so that was really exciting for me. I actually like stayed up until 12 o'clock for the book's release. I was like really excited for it to come out, and then when it came out, I had saw that over 300 people had pre-ordered the book, and that it was in one of the top 10 lists of Amazon's bestseller list, and so that was a really exciting experience for me. And that makes me, even more excited to continue publishing and to keep going forward on my journey as an author.
Well, I'm so glad you were able to fly on her wings as you were putting this book together. I love that idea. So, one final question before we let you go for the night. Um, Jermaine's doing this 90-day book creation. What would you tell people about getting involved in that?
I would say that, like if you are wanting to write a book, do it. It's a really cool, amazing experience. And Jermaine and her team were super helpful. Some people they spend years and years trying to get their book out, but with her, you can get it out in such a short amount of time. Um, and she really does a lot of the work for you, and she makes it a lot easier for you to get it published. But what I did like is that she still keeps me up to date continuously about what is going on in the process of getting my book published.
Well, Jasmine, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Wings to Fly. And may your wings continue to carry you and you become the person that will be carrying someone else on your wings one day. So I'm sure the book is like that pebble in the water I talk about, the Dr. King's quote. You
Hmm.
don't know where those ripples are going to go. Somebody may pick up that book in Africa and say, look, this book inspired me to do something. So let's pray and hope that that works out, and I'm sure it's going to be a success. Thank you, Jasmine, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Jasmine. And Charles, if I can say, Jasmine has a book coming out on November 19th called Locks, Not Dreads. It's her new latest children's book, but it's not just for children, it's for anyone. So that's coming
Perfect.
out and it'll be everywhere. And you can purchase that one and help that one go #1 on Amazon as well. So
All right. Okay. Well, we'll look forward to that, Jasmine. Thank you and have a good night. Okay.
You too.
All right.
Jasmine.
Bye.
Jermaine, it sounds really good. Sound like you've really, really inspired some people here. So that's good and commendable on your part. It seems like you're just putting people on your wings and flying them and putting them, pushing them
Absolutely.
off and pushing them into the deep end and saying, "Now it's time, my child, to go and fly." So who do you want to go to next? We got so many special guests and doing so many wonderful things. Who you want to go to next and bring them
Well,
out of the green room?
let's go to Teresa. Teresa Merritt Watson. She is my latest best-selling author, and her book is in pre-sale mode, and it's on Amazon in pre-sale mode right now because it's launching next Tuesday on November 12th. So, hi Teresa, how are you? Oh, let me unmute Teresa. Hold on one second. Let's bring her back up. Hi Teresa, can you hear us now?
I can. I can.
Hear
Thank
you.
you.
Teresa, thank you for joining us on Wings to Fly tonight. What do you think what do you think about this subject about wings to fly?
Well, I was intrigued. I wrote it down. Wings to Fly gave me food for thought there, because you keep moving is a very unique and very unique title, because, it puts me in the mind of all the times that you're going to struggle, but you just keep trying and you eventually off the ledge and you're flying.
Yes.
And, and that's the way I feel when I'm working with Germaine, because sometimes you have these authors that's all over the place, and that's me. And I think that she helps me organize, um, organize and keep things in focus.
That's perfect. So, how did you develop your relationship with Germaine and HOV Publishing? How did you guys come to know each other?
Well, actually, I was working with a publicist that recommended her, and it's actually has been such a wonderful experience from the communication, which is real important to me. The communication, and how it's laid out, the articulation of the platform, and each actually trying to analyze the message that want to be sent, and have her. She understood what my passion was about, and that was important because it's hard sometimes when you're telling people, I really want to change the trajectory of African American education and economic, and they just look at you. Where Germaine sort of took it in, and and she says, say more, say more. And so my book was published earlier, but the republished is so fabulous that I just look at it sometimes, just look at it, how wonderful and what great job she did. I'm still amazed.
Charles, I have a
So,
copy of her book.
oh
It's
my
Black.
God, that's beautiful.
It is.
It's called Black Tech: Leaders in Technology, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. And also, she had a phenomenal creative illustrator that helped put the images together in the book, which is Gerard Harmon, who kudos to Gerard. I tell you, the book looks absolutely amazing.
It does. And so I what I would say, if when you're talking about working with Germaine in a 90-day process, I it is your opportunity to do things in a structured way. We worked on the not just the pictures, the words, the fonts, and we always had an opinion, and she come back and tell you X, Y, Z. I absolutely enjoyed that style.
It's interesting you say that, Teresa. I've known Germaine probably, she always says it's over 30 years, but I don't know.
Yes.
But, and I told her from the day one when she was doing graphics back in the day, I say, you such a detailed oriented person. Anytime I need graphics or any kind of stuff laid out, I'm coming to you. And she didn't even see that calling at the time until I kept feeding into her because I saw that calling on her part. It's interesting now that she's putting all these covers and books and things out. So I think you're right on point, Teresa. So, Teresa, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
tonight because we don't want to run out of time for our other special guests. And then we have a big announcement coming at the end. But thank you so much for
Thank
taking some
you.
time to join.
Thank both of you, Germaine and Charles. Thank you both.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Teresa, for
All
sharing.
right. We're good. Good night. So Jermaine, we gotta move on to
Yeah.
the next person. Who do you
Mhm.
want to have that special guest that we can bring on?
Let's bring Shanita Balton up. Hi,
Good
Shanita. How
evening.
are you?
Good evening. I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Yes. So, Charles, Shanita is one of my newest authors, actually through a referral from one of my other best-selling authors
Oh, perfect.
as
Love it.
well. And the one thing that I love about what she is doing, her book is due to release February 1st, 2025. So her book is called Unveiled. I'm going to let her share a little more about it. But what I love so much about what she has been able to do, she's going through her pre sale campaign right now. In less than 10 days, she just blew my mind because she had already sold 116 books. And so
Whoa! What you talking about?
you know what I did, Charles? I sent her a text and I said, you still have a few more months to go. So in order to make the New York Times bestseller list, we can shoot for 5,000 copies the way you're moving.
Nice.
I said, I have no idea what she's doing, but she is doing it. And every day I'm always hearing these chimes and beeps of book sales coming through for her. So keep up whatever you
So Shanita, talk to us about working with HOV Publishing and also your book.
Sure. It has been a blessing to work with HOV. First and foremost, I have to say that Germaine makes you feel like you are the only client she is working with. And you know she's not, but she just makes you feel that important. One of the things that I've truly appreciate is just the outline and schedule that she provides from start to finish. So you know exactly when things are due, but also when things are coming forth. I also must say that she brings the vision to life, literally, particularly through the book cover. She asked, what are you thinking about? What's your vision? And I shared that with her. And literally, when she sent me the templates and says, here are a few drafts, I literally just began to cry because it was exactly what I wanted. So it's just been exciting.
So tell us a little bit about Unveiled, your book.
Sure. So the book is called Unveiled: Overcoming Trauma to Walk in Your Divine Purpose. And this was inspired. I couldn't sleep one night. And when I can't sleep, I'm asking God, what are you trying to say to me? And just revealed to me that so many women aren't able to receive all that is for them because we have buried so much trauma in many different forms of trauma. So initially I thought, okay, this is about me. Let me begin to just write my story. And so I was jotting down some notes and it was like, no, other women need a voice as well. So I literally got up that morning. I posted on Facebook, I'm writing a book. Here's the title that I plan to have. If you're interested in submitting an excerpt, let me know. And by that night, when I came home from work, I had 44 women who had responded. So this book has come together with 35 other women's voices, and I'm really excited, not only that it's given them a platform to release and share, but also I know the words are going to be able to help heal some others.
So if now you've already gone through the process of writing your book and getting it published and getting it out there,
No,
but for
it's not
folks
out
who are
there
listening,
yet, Charles. It
okay,
doesn't
well,
release. I'm sorry. Her book is in a pre-sale campaign mode. It doesn't release until February 1st, 2025.
all right, the
So
month
it's
of
going,
love. Okay,
her book is
On my
going through
birthday.
the actual process right
nice. Happy early birthday.
Thank
So, for the people who Germaine is offering this course to 90 Day Creation, what would you say about that and how important it is to have a coach who can walk you through the process?
I would say it's extremely important. I think if you are looking for a publisher that is going to be with you from start to finish, and I just want to reiterate what Germaine had shared that you still own this work. Um, this company is working with you hand in hand through every step of the way and always available to answer questions when you have them, but also really inspiring you to win. One of the things I love about Germaine, it's not about HOV by itself. It's about ensuring that her authors are able to become successful through the process.
Nice. Yeah, well, congratulations on, I can't even say getting the book out there because it's not out there, but having a story. And that just goes to show you everybody has a story and everybody's story can touch somebody else. But congratulations on getting your story written. And we'll look forward to that February 1st launch. We'll be right there to support you, to buy it, to download it, and do what we need to do in order to support you in HOV Publishing. Thank you for joining us tonight, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Good night.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Thank you, Germaine.
All right, Jermaine, let's figure out our next person that we want to go to
Yes.
tonight to bring them on board.
So we are going to bring up Leslie George. Leslie George. Um, Hi, Leslie. Let's unmute her, Charles.
Okay.
Okay. So
Let's,
Leslie George is my first #1 best-selling author. Yes,
yay!
that actually kicked off all these other books coming after her to hit the Amazon bestseller list. So Leslie, I do have your book, the first book that we did, the International Day of the Girl, which was inspired out of a conference you were putting on. So I'm going to turn it back over to Charles and yourself so you can share with everyone your journey.
So, Leslie, this is the thing. When you're the first of getting involved with someone, sometimes you go, oh, wait a minute, I don't know, I'm not sure. What comfort level did Jermaine give you that made you say, look, I'm going to go with you? It's the energy I feel about you. What was it about her that said, look, you're going to become my publishing company?
Oh, let me unmute you, Leslie. Hold on. Go ahead, Leslie. I just unmuted you, so go ahead.
So my story may be like other story, right? So for like 20 years I kept on saying I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna write a book, but I didn't have the tools, didn't know how I was gonna get started. Now I had already met Germaine through my pastor, and I said, well, why don't I just call her and see if she can help me? And she was so gracious. We spoke and she gave me some tips and she says, yeah, definitely we can get it done. And as she said, it was inspired by a conference where I just started a company. I was going to have my very first conference, and Jermaine walked me through a process that I was like, wow, we can do that. And it was absolutely amazing. And when the book went #1, she came to the book signing and all of that. She came with her mom. And when the book went #1, I said, it did what? And she says, yeah, it went #1. So it's absolutely the process. I will never forget the feeling and the process for the rest of my life.
So,
Charles, I'm going
Jermaine, every author you have goes #1?
so Well, I won't say every author, but I can actually say it's probably 80%. And that's some techniques we're going to talk about also through the 90-day book creation. But I just want to piggyback off of Leslie's story. So me and my mom decided to go to Florida because Leslie based in Florida, and she had this amazing book launch for her first book, just really celebrating all the women that were in the book. And I'll never forget, I was at the hotel getting ready, and I happened to check Amazon, and it had that ribbon that said #1. And Leslie, I don't know, did I call you or did I wait to get to the event?
No,
I called
you
you,
call
right?
me. You call me.
I was so excited because it's not that Leslie went #1 as an author with HOV Publishing, but it was a celebration for Hope and Vision Publishing to have her their first #1 best-selling author. So that night, and it's so amazing that it came right before her launch event. And so everyone was able to celebrate that night, getting a copy of the book and being able to share their story.
So Leslie, tell us a little bit about your book. What's your book about, and how has it touched the lives of other people? That first book.
Oh my goodness. So the name of the book is International Day of the Girl, A Walk in Our Lives. And so most people don't even know International Day of the Girl is a day that exists. It's in October, I believe it's October 11th. And so that was the day that I chose to launch my very first event. That was the name of the book. And since then, I've exposed so many different people to actually that day. I've gotten proclamations. My daughter goes to school in Tallahassee. She's gotten proclamations for that day. It has opened up such an incredible world. And, you know, as you talked about the pebble, because of going #1 and being a best-selling author, I didn't realize it was really such a big deal. And so during the pandemic, you had all these audio apps, and I happened to be in an audio app. And I just mentioned I'm a best-selling author. Well, that just opened the floodgates that now I am also helping others do their book, right? So when you talk about touching others' lives, the ripple effect you cannot count.
Excellent. I love it, Leslie. I love this synergy. And I've always, like I said at the beginning of my introduction, I've always loved the idea because my mentor told me, give back to others, that's how you pay me. And I coined the phrase flying on somebody else's wings until your wings are strong enough to carry you. And we must do that because there's a movie, philosophy from a movie that I live by. It's the movie It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know if most people have seen it. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And the premise of that movie, what if I didn't exist? How
Mm,
many lives would not be touched by me? Because sometimes we get into these mindsets, if you will, where we think our lives don't matter
Yes.
until we're no longer around, until people have to remind you, no, 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 I wouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z if it wasn't for you. I wouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z. So, all of you guys who are authors, I think this is a great thing to do because you can always pick up a book and read a story. You could always be inspired by those pages, just turning those pages. So that's why I think the written word is still important, even though I'm in the digital media and do all the things I do. But still, those pages sometimes are very important. So Leslie, I thank you. Now, is this your first book, last book? What are you doing
that
now?
was my first book, and then I did another book, International Day of the Girl, A Walk in Our Life, the pandemic edition, because during the pandemic, I said, you know, wow, we've never been through a pandemic before, and it's so important to have this history. So that was my second book. But in terms of helping women, I believe I've helped over 50 women become #1 best-selling authors.
Yes.
And I've touched women from, I have clients from Hawaii to Liberia, Africa, right? So Germaine's footprint is just endless.
I love it. I love it. Leslie, thank you very much for joining us on Wings to Fly tonight. And you've truly shown us what it means to fly on somebody else's wings and your wings get strong. And now
Yes.
you have people flying on your wings. So thank you for everything that you do to help other people and inspire the community and the world. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you,
Thank
Germaine, and thank you too, Charles. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Have a good night, okay?
Awesome.
you. So
You man,
Charles,
it just seems like you're working. You got some
but
You got some people out there that's flying.
But you know what's so amazing is when you talk about Wings to Fly, I think about all the authors that have been a part of my vision and my purpose that have allowed Hope of Vision to be who it is today. And then being able to pay it forward. It's like, you know what? I know and I am clear, I don't own. God has graced. And with that, I am like the proud family member, or the midwife to just say, go forth, spread your wings. And it just, I'm so amazed by just the stories and that people are able to be blessed and then be able to pay it forward and share with others. And so with this last guest that I want us to bring on, she has been with me. She is going into her 10th year with Hope of Vision.
What?
Now, I'm going to tell you what's interesting about Dr. Tenaria Drummond Smith is because she has an organization called Awesome Women on the Move. But every single year, pretty much since 2015, she has published a book. And not just herself, but she'll talk to you about her vision, giving women a platform for their voices to be heard also. In her
God, if I had a clap track, I would be clapping for you, doctor. Wow.
yes,
Isn't that amazing? God is good, right?
oh,
So,
I want to hear if we can. Let's see if we can hear her. Tenaria, go ahead. Charles, I can't. It's still. Charles, is there any way I may be able to call her on the phone, put her on speaker so we can pick up?
yeah, let's put her back in the green room. We'll come back to her. Let's choose
Okay.
someone else, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay.
So, doctor, we'll get back to you. Let's
I'm
go.
gonna call
Let's
her
move. Let's. Who do we have left? You got to call her now.
Yes, because
Okay.
she is the last guest that I have. But while I'm dialing her in, Charles, what I do want to say, there are so many authors that have really been a blessing to Hope of Vision Publishing. And right now, tonight, you see a lot of women. But if I could just say, it is a collective body or family members from men, women, from young adults to my oldest author. And I don't like using the word oldest. I'm going to coin a phrase from another one of my authors, Marquita Curtis Haynes, who has Ageless Glamour Girls, whose book also is a bestseller on Amazon and everywhere. So my oldest Ageless Glamour Girl is 103 years old. 103
Stop
years.
it.
I have to tell you what has been so incredible. For those out there that don't believe that they can write their story and tell their story, I had the honor and the privilege to be a part of quite a few lives that have published over the age of 70. And one of the latest books that I did this year, which was, if I can show it, it's called Dottisms. And it was created by Dorothy Robinson. And she was 98 years old, 98 years young when I published her book. And what is so special about this is that her books were on the way to be delivered to her. And she had been admitted into the hospital. And it was touch and go, and we didn't know. And let me tell you, when I say prayer changes things, God allowed her to hold her book in her hand, the book that she created, that she had written years ago about her sayings, in her hands before she left this earth. And for me, it was such a blessing. And I choke up when I talk about it because God allowed me to be a part of her latter journey and to help give her the gift of her book that she had written 40 plus years ago. So I just
Wow.
want to say, anyone and everyone that is living on earth, you have an opportunity to share your story with the world. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
beautiful. That's a beautiful story. And that's a dream that she always wanted to do before she left this earth. And you gave her that opportunity to have that book. Now it's here for the world to read and understand what life she lived. So she lived on through
absolutely,
the pages from Helpful Vision Publishing. So let's
absolutely.
go back to Dr. Smith and see if we can get her picture
I'm
on, and you're going to
dialing
bring her
her.
on the phone.
I'm dialing her
So
in right now, and what we will do is keep her microphone muted, and then I'll bring her audio up on the phone. Okay.
perfect, perfect, perfect.
So hold on one second. Let me get
Yeah,
on.
that's okay. Look, this is a casual podcast. We don't have to be perfect with everything. We just need to do what we have to do. As we see Doctor the doctor in the video, so we'll bring her audio on shortly once she picks up, and we'll be able to hear her. All right, Jermaine, I can't hear you now, so you may have inadvertently muted your audio.
So I have her right now on the speaker, so you can
Okay.
go ahead and ask her questions.
So, Doctor, tell me how you ended up intersecting with HOV Publishing.
Well, as everyone, am I echoing?
No, you
No, you
good. You
go
good.
ahead.
Go
We hear
ahead.
you clearly.
Oh, okay. All right, let me just move my phone. Um, well, how I met Germaine, of course, like everyone talks about, it's always been about word of mouth. So I met Germaine through someone telling me about her.
So what book did you come to her with? What vision you did you come to Germaine with that you wanted to get your book out there? What was that vision?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I would like to consider all my books to be prophetic. I didn't even think I could write a book. And if I could tell my testimony, I had came home from church, and the Lord told me that I would be an author. I said, Lord, I don't even know nothing about writing no book, but I would like to give God the glory. I've written my book in one night, one day,
What?
name, and there it happened. And the name of the book was called I've Been Hurt in the Church.
Wow. So okay, so I've been hurt in church. What is that book about?
So basically, being hurt in the church, it actually started when I was a child. And many of us know, those of us who go to church, sometimes people in leadership or in different positions that are in the church, they sometimes play favoritism with their own kids and kind of shun their kids that parents that perhaps is not as active as they are in the church. So that's pretty much what my story is about. And then also to just interacting with people in the church and how quote unquote claim to be saved but mishandle people.
But doctor, if I have this correct, this is not your first. That book is not your first dance at the rodeo. You've done several books.
Yes, yes I have.
So Charles, I'm going to jump in. So Tenaria, every year since 2015, has put out a new book. And so I had introduced to her just through our conversations, because remember, Tenaria has a huge women's movement, Awesome Women on the Move. And we talked, and I asked her the question about doing a co-author book. And she had a vision that I'm going to let her share with you. So I'm going to bring her back on. So Tenaria, so you told me that you wanted to give a platform for 100 women. And you did just that.
Yes, yes I did.
So talk about your Awesome Women on the Move ministry.
Basically, the Awesome Women on the Move, it done turned into a ministry, it done turned into a women's movement, it has certainly turned into a marketplace. And what it is that I wanted to do was I wanted to give women a safe place in the ministry, but also to have a voice in books. So that's how the co-author book started. What you mentioned to me, that you, since you have a platform, I think it would be something nice to do.
So
So talk to me about your experience again, as I asked the other authors, of working with HOV Publishing, because now she's launching into this 90-day creation. What was the experience like? How easy was it? What's the process? Did she drive a hard class and say, "You got to get this done"? How was the experience?
Well, I would like to say the experience has been a blessing. It has certainly been a blessing. With working with Germaine, what I love most about her is she doesn't try to change the language in how I speak and how I write. So that's number one. And also, two, she emphasizes that the stories that we're writing, it's a legal document, and it's our story. And then also too, she understands the vision. She understands the vision. So I can tell her, give her a color or a theme or something, and just tell her about a vision of how I would like for my book to be. Next time I speak to her, she'll send me an email, and she gives me a couple of examples exactly what I was looking for. And sometimes I may critique it with some other cousins, but she does excellent. Very easy to
I
work.
will, Doctor. Thank you so much, and congratulations on all of your success with your books and working with HOV Publishing. And we're gonna start wrapping up the show now, so we're gonna say good night to you. Germaine's gonna talk about her 90-day creation again and how people can sign up for it. But congratulations again, and have a great night. And we want to thank all of our authors who appeared on here as our special guests tonight. But Germaine's going to come back on now and talk to us. But thank you, Doctor. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
thank you. So, Charles, if I can just say, Dr. Tenaria also has a cookbook. It's the first cookbook from Hope of Vision Publishing, and it's called Putting It Down in the Kitchen with 10 Home Cooks.
I
And
love that.
yes. And so that also is in a pre-sale campaign that you can find all the pre-sale campaigns at hovpub.com to be able to get your advanced copy. So her book will be coming out very, very soon. We're wrapping the process up right now on her cookbook.
Okay, great. Now, okay, so talk to us as we get ready to close out the show Wings to Fly. Talk to us about your 90-day creation, a book creation, and how do people sign up? What do they need to do? What do they need to be prepared before they sign up?
So it's available to anyone that has the desire, that's inspired to write a book. And the one thing you may be missing is the how. And we here at Hope of Vision, we want to simplify the process for you. We've created this book, the 90-day book creation, to take you through this process and be able to answer all your questions. But even more so than just being able to go through the book on your own, because you can absolutely do that, I also created a training system that I will personally coach you through the process. So you have me to ask any questions as you're going through, to really be hands-on with helping you birth your book out in 90 days. And so in order to go ahead and get started and get registered, you can do it all. Go to 90daybookcreation.com. And when you get to the website, just click on the tab for 90-day book creation. And there you'll be able to register. You can register. Each course or each session is as little as $12. I really wanted to make this affordable to be able to help people through this process. And then because we're a full service company, you never have to ever feel like you're in this by yourself. So we are always here to help support and also help you become one of the stories that we're able to share also with the world, right through even the Hope of Vision Connect podcast platform. And so once again, go to 90daybookcreation.com and secure your spot. And what we're going to do, we're going to launch it at the beginning of the year, which will be If I can just give you a date really quickly, I believe is the second week in January, and that'll all be posted on the site. But we want to get through the holiday season. But if I can give you any advice, if you are going to go through this program, I want you to start thinking about your title, your book, and create an outline. So I'm going to kind of give you a head start to it, okay? And if you already have your story, that's even better. But if you don't, it's not too late. You can get a jump start. So when we start the second week in January, the 12 sessions, and just think at the end of the first quarter, you can have your book published in the marketplace. So,
Well, that's
mhm,
perfect, Ms. Summers. Thank you again for joining us and being our first guest on Wings to Fly. I think it was a total success. I want to thank all of your authors who are number one best-selling authors. I want to thank all of them for taking out of their busy schedule to appear on the show tonight and letting people know not only they flew on your wings to get their book published, now they're actually allowing people to fly on their wings. So
yes.
that pebble in the water really means something. So again, thank you for joining us, and we're gonna wrap the show until we meet again. So Jermaine, I'm gonna say good night to you. Then I'm gonna talk to the audience for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be okay. So I'm gonna put you in the green room, and we'll
Thank you
talk
so
soon.
much,
Okay?
Charles. It was a blessing. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right, everybody, that's our show for the night. I'm so glad you guys stayed with us as we start to build this audience because I think every life touches another life. That's a philosophy I live by. I think we all need to be in close connection with each other. Sometime a kind word, sometime a thought, sometime a movement, sometime a handshake, sometimes just putting your hand on somebody's shoulder will give them strength to keep moving forward because you never know when somebody's just at the edge of life and they need somebody. So having that person that you can fly on their wings until your wings are strong enough is very, very important because once your wings are strong, guess what you're going to do? You're going to find somebody and put them on your wings, and then they're going to put them on. It's like a domino effect. It's just keep going over and over again. So again, I thank all of you guys for joining us on Wings to Fly. Until next time, I'm Charles Williams, just a quiet boy from Houston, Texas. Thank you guys, and good night.